I want to introduce to you a gentleman who's flown here from Boston, who you just saw in the film. Todd, would you please come up? This is Todd Wetzel. He just has a few words to say to you.
Good evening. I'd like to put our hands together for Terry. What an awesome job. To my good friend Kate, who sits to my left, distinguished guests and friends of LifeChronicles, thanks for inviting me tonight to share a few words in my story on behalf of my late wife, Courtney, and my children. March 22nd, 2014 was the day my wife passed away at the age of 41. She had been diagnosed on January 23rd, 2007, at the young age of 36. She had a series of malignant, inoperable brain tumors. It wasn't if, it was when, and how much time. 8 months later, I've known her for most of my life, but 8 months later, I asked her out on our first date. And she said to me, "Why on earth would you like to date someone that's going to die?" And I looked at her relatively quickly and said, "Perhaps something you might know something I don't know. But I think that we're all going to die." To Terry's point, it's not if, it's when, and under what circumstances. So I extended my hand to her and I asked her to get on my train and go for a ride until whenever that date in the future presented itself, and I promised her I would take care of her. We had something in common. In 1987, she was 16 and her father was 45, and he died of pancreatic cancer. 2 years later, my father died at the age of 52. I was 22, and he had had a massive heart attack on the 4th of July. I share that with you because at a young age, I learned very early on, as did Courtney, on the importance of loss. As Terry said and Kate have said, no one really wants to talk about loss generally until they have to, if at all. And Courtney and I had a different perspective on that. And what we wanted to understand is what mattered in life each and every day. Her father obviously left not soon enough, and my father left too soon. One was expected and one was unexpected. So my challenge came as Courtney's decline set in late 2011. The last 3 months of her life, in the first quarter of 2012, I took off from work to help her get to her next journey. And I remember one day when I was traveling to work and I banged a U-turn and said, "I'm not going back to work. I'm going to spend this time with her, this time that matters." And we had a conversation, as we did every day, this one in the shower. And I talked to her. She was a clever girl. You heard the wit in her voice with her son, Max, my stepson. The power of video and voice is just immeasurable, but that was all Courtney right there. She had a good sense of humor right till the end. And in essence, I had to determine how to get this Life Chronicle thing in front of her. For 2 years, she wouldn't let me take a photo of her. Most of you that have experienced loss with someone that has cancer understand what that's like. She felt not so much beautiful, and I tried to reassure her that she was beautiful inside and out, but she didn't want to be in any pictures. So I chatted with her in the shower, and I said, "Honey, you told me in the 16 years that your dad knew you, he taught you more than most kids in a lifetime. You remembered him. How would you like to have more photos of him?" And she looked at me and said, "Of course, I'd love to have more photos. Anyone in this room that's experienced loss would love more and more photos of those that they've lost. It's a commonality." I said, "How about his voice on a recording, like, tape recording of sorts, maybe a voice machine?" She said, "I'd absolutely kill for that." And then she said, "Todd, where are you going with this?" And I looked at her and I said, "Listen, we've got a company coming out, some very nice people from Santa Barbara. With your blessing, we'll greet them at our door on Friday, and they'll move into our house for the weekend. And this isn't really a choice of yours at the end of the day, because your daughter Emma is not going to remember you at all. And you have to stop thinking about yourself and how you don't want to look on a camera, but you have to think about a gift that you can give Emma and the rest of the kids that they can enjoy for their lifetimes after you're long gone. She was filled with a high degree of anxiety, to say the least, that Friday morning. It was February 18, 2012. Kate arrived at our house, and I'd like to just comment that the relief that that weekend brought to her on Monday morning, she thanked me profusely, and she shared with me her relief that that exercise brought her, and her regret, as I said in the video, was just that she wished she did it sooner. Not that she hadn't done it, but that she just wished that she had done it sooner. So before I wrap up with a couple of comments, I do want to thank Kate for coming to my home and making a difference in my wife's imminent departure. The peace that you gave her, Kate, is something I'll be forever grateful for, and I thank you for that from the bottom of my heart. Thank you. You know, most of us buy insurance for our cars. You know, we drive around, we hope we don't slam into someone, but we buy insurance for that unthinkable, possibility. We buy insurance should we have a fire and we have to replace our homes. That might happen. We're sure that we're going to die, as Terry said. And I made a decision a couple of years ago that as healthy as I was, I didn't have a video of my father, and he was here one day and gone the next. And boy, would I love to have that video, to hear him speak to me directly. So I did basically a video as a piece of insurance that sits side by side next to Courtney's, should something happen to me. I can update it whenever I want, but it doesn't have to be that you're unhealthy and about to check out that you have to do this video. So keep that in mind. The importance of what work Kate and all of her volunteers do. The video mentioned a few numbers, and before I hand it back to Rod, I just wanted to mention 18 years she's been doing this. I mean, just simply remarkable. She's gone into 40 states now. I think the video might have said 29, in 400 cities. Just simply amazing. 1,400 plus people now that she's interviewed. And God bless you, Kate, for the work that you do for LifeChronicles. Thank you all for what you do. As the evening goes on, for those that are being honored, I congratulate you. For those of you that are then asked to consider donating money to this worthy cause, I implore you to give until it's most uncomfortable. Thank you.
Thank you, Todd. I couldn't have said it better. And I won't repeat because you took most of my notes, but it was brilliantly done, and we appreciate you coming all the way out from Boston.